Welcome, everybody, to Mud Flood Was Armageddon Special Edition. Mud Flood was Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they are willing to debate you in a fair and honest way. And you can ask my big brother, RJ. Fair and honest doesn't include fisticuffs to settle the argument.
Yeah.
I got a lot on my mind, RJ, but I have to be polite. I have to say thank you for joining. Welcome. How are you? Sorry I got you all frustrated this morning.
I don't know about that.
How many times did
But
you have
yeah,
to explain that to me?
it's nice to be appreciated. Yeah.
You told me as nice as you could. All right, now I've just told you 3 times. And I said, please give it to me one more time. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, if he doesn't go ahead and get this, it's going to be like what I did as a dumbass, which because of my beloved F-150, there was a time when my dad had it hijacked and shit, and we chose to get out and lock the hubs ourselves. We gave that up after a couple of years, and I had you repeat it 3 times because I couldn't believe that you were even thinking about it. I wanted you to just think, go get that attachment, man, order it. So I was kind of like stringing you along too, and I knew it was frustrating. And plus, you knew I was doing those mushroom things, right?
Yeah, that might have a impact on one's imagination. I don't know.
I hung up with you. And I told you, I said, look, man, I got to shut it down for a little bit here, right?
Yeah, and I had things to do also.
And I ended up, I couldn't sleep. My head kept going with what I was thinking about. I pulled up 24 tabs. I wrote down my 1711 is their 1848. Who taught Denny Hastert the Granby roll? Asked the now student Saul Paco. Me. What rank is ASU? What rank in Colorado is this college that I go to? What are we rated? My lack of seeking vengeance must be confusing to them because I'm still relating to them as my college and stuff. My home is now people's employment. You know, they're busted lying to me. And some people, they got to wonder, am I going to keep my job? I am busted, caught lying to his face. So I am his Salt Paco. I did write down again. I think 1848 fits, but I'm still locked in on 1711. So I will still present, but I need to rest and pray. I have until midnight to get a 20-point history assignment that started all of this. And what about 9/11/2001? It's always been our most important thing on the date of 1711. Now it's like 1848. I know we got Bahu Allah. We got the great.
Yeah, that event impacted our society the most as a single event.
So I can't walk away from that, and I know that I wouldn't want to. 9/11/2001 was simply another day in what world? Whatever God Most High has placed on my heart, that's what I talk about. Bahu Allah is also something that we need to look at in that 1848 window of, did they set that up? Because what I'm trying to fill in RJ, is that something and fake history? Is it forgeries and fake history? Forgot to cross the F. Forgeries, fake histories. Could this be a trap, the 1848 thing? Either way, Earth has been reaped after Armageddon. I'm Miss Paco. Could that be more confusing? I'd try to make it more confusing, but I don't know how. Go ahead, RJ.
Well, yeah, we are uh, currently living in unique, interesting times, I feel, and being able to recognize uh, what that means, what it implies. Yeah.
Is quite a thing here. So we got the fair use disclaimer, some other pictures, here's we got it all. This was their Ash Wednesday. This was me showing off the stones that are body parts. I just visited the Ghost Ranch. I found out, RJ, that property is still owned by Presbyterian Church USA, one of the more liberal, but when it was founded as kind of a, not the Southern Presbyterians that were all about the Ku Klux Klan. So that's good to know that the Georgia O'Keeffe, when she claimed to be a dedicated heterosexual, she was reacting to people who didn't want to think that she was gay like the other gay artists of that time. Not that there's anything wrong with that you won't find in the Bible. Just to show, this will come into play later. I looked up something in Wikipedia and I got Minton Talbot, City of Norfolk, Minton Wright Talbot, 1868 to 1950, French. He dedicated the ground, this guy, of the Talbot plantation, donated by this guy, but he's not even got a Wikipedia page. And it's the Granby. It's going to tie into the wrestling. It's going to tie into Denny Hastert, the Granby role. It's all going to be in play right here, man. Getting to know Charlita. 8 months after finishing her PhD, Charlie took her first position as a college president. I'm going to say that Charlita was, is, or has been a Charlie. It still might go, call me Charlie. Taft University system. How I got to that? Good question. I don't know. But I do know that the university I go to is ranked number 16. 16. That's not like we're number 2 and trying harder. That's like, wow. The people that, okay, the person that we're, the school we're ahead of is the Naropa University that even, we have an acceptance rate of 100. Even Naropa has some standards and it's more expensive. But yeah, I looked up the rating of our school. Gonna fly now. I had to do an assignment. It's this crap with Ken Burns. I can't show you a minute.
Too mysterious, too dangerous.
This is what was assigned to me, Dave. This film wasn't made in 2021. It was made in 1996. It's still what people in their normal schools shove down people in their 16th ranked college in Colorado because he's taken the day off because he's going to be closer to home in Colorado for a 3-day weekend. Then next week is a spring break. He's the guy whose friend just died carrying a woman down the steps while they've been drinking. This is my algorithm. Hey, look, what is our Al Jazeera? This is
Jazeera podcasts.
What?
You won't find her on X, Elon Musk's app, formerly known as Twitter, very often, though she literally wrote the book on it. Along with her book cover, you will see images of her with her baby on her shoulders and his fingers dangerously close to her eye.
Hey, this is almost clean as my apartment.
My name is Zoe Schiffer. I'm the Director of Business and Industry at Wired Magazine and the author of.
You know who that is? I think that's Elon Musk's baby mama. The girl he likes to make babies with right now. He has 13 children. Did you know that, RJ? That's what I heard.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know all of his. Yeah,
I had a hard time.
I'm not aware of all of his accomplishments.
So it took me a long time to find this speck of the future. I had to hunt 15 minutes. He assigned it. I got to watch this video. I finally found it because I didn't want to pay Amazon for it. My buddy Joaquin stopped over. He didn't know about adrenochrome and stuff like that. And so I had to break it down for him. So this one is just pulled up out of the way. He's out. We're friends, but he's also an employee. He's out running errands for me right now. So I don't have to. Well, you know how it goes. Anyway, he didn't know about this, the vampire molecule. They show this picture twice. This is the one from 2018. It's like, wow, people are just switching blood with young people and they're not ashamed of it. That'd be pretty embarrassing to me. But anyway, my friend Joaquin did not know about it, so we took some time to talk about it. Here, this is from 2017. Oh, you're a millennial. You might have felt a while now that older generations are out to suck you dry, and they did. We're sorry, but what did you do? What have you done now that you're old now? You guys are in your 40s. Crybabies. So we still living in the basement, or is it still our fault, or what? You're giving out blood. He didn't know about it. So they're like, yeah, it's because, oh, where's the adrenochrome? I had more adrenochrome stuff. Anyway, we're moving on. So the Taft University system, look at this one. That's where I got that stuff. Taft University, 0 people receiving aid and 500 people. I clicked on it. We're going to look at it later, wondering how much. But this is actually the people that were lower ranked than the university I go to, where, they lied to my face because I'm a disabled veteran and I'm not down with DEI, and I let them know right from Jump Street, man. Men are men. So all of these are, some pretty low rankings in the whole North America. We're number 16. Everybody in our conference is better than us. The number 1 college this year is School of Mines, according to some of them. I never even heard of this one before. I looked up Rocky Vista neurosurgery. There's a lot of universities teaching new stuff, mostly to white people in this place, but I don't want to harp on that. What else we got here? There are a couple I looked up. What do I know about these people? Nothing. It's in Colorado. I don't see how the in-state and out-of-state are the same. So it just seems fishy. There's so much going on here. And so it was Taft University, the small one in Lakewood. 1 undergraduates, 495 graduates, private, for-profit, 100% acceptance rate. Wow. She's in on it. So I looked like, well, what is this Taft University system? This is what's popped up. They were in on it. There's Charlita. Just turns out that colleges are putting out the normal stuff. I mentioned the Granby roll. What was it? Well, it's got its own amateur wrestling technique, reversal named for Granby High School. We're going to look at that next. Popularized by Billy Martin, not the baseball player. Utilized in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm an expert at it. I learned it because in the years I was going to school, in these same years, somebody named Denny Hastert, who ended up being the Secretary of State, third in line to the president, was an expert. His school was also winning state. So let's just get a from the ground Granby roll. Granby roll it.
Hi guys, I'm Ricky Mundell, and we're going to talk about a Granby roll. This type of roll has been used in kind of to the side, okay?
You just have to be limited enough to do this. Let's just see you throw it fast. You just it does itself. He's just grabbing it there. All you do is roll, and if you would have held onto his arm, you've got control of him. I would hold on to his arm every time and flip him onto his back. Score some points, man. Can you do it any
up? Toes in front.
That's how you do it for
And
an
I'm out.
escape.
I'm ready. Go to the circle.
But
Switch
I used to just do
directions.
that all the time. Because Denny Hastert did it. And then Denny Hastert was like everybody's super wrestling coach. And he learned it from this guy. The school. Billy Martin. Their symbol is a comet. It's just something, it's a really rich school. I mean, who wins state 20 out of 21 years, 21 titles in 22 seasons? In the decade of the 1960s, they only lost 2 matches. Invented the Granby roll? It just seems strange to me that everything that we've always known about wrestling, we got from the old books. Because I studied the crap out of all these wrestling fighting shit. I had to. Or my dad would have been very disappointed. There's something to it. Denny Hastert did it. Look at some schools have 1 or 2 famous people. Well, this guy's he's a astronaut. This guy, he's a super good wrestler, a super good football player, boxers, basketball coaches. I've never heard of some of these people, but they just keep kicking them out. Former politician. It's what the Lord brought to mind. And we are guided or we are not guided by his skillful hand. 2 times, 3 times that word was used in the Old Testament. Here it was in Exodus 15 and Psalm. You led us, the people like a flock. In your loving kindness, you have led people. I feel like we should stop and look at that, RJ, but there's still so much going on. This is Charlita's resume, Just now she's working at Gonzaga, got promoted, only has 2,000 followers, 500 connections, but she works at Gonzaga in charge of like the new Jesuit girl to, bring them into the 2025. So I looked up the best colleges. Let's see what is the first thing we got here. Is this Granby again? Oh, this is that mini series. Along with the Civil War and baseball, Ken Burns did the rewrite of history. and they're still teaching it, going through the motions today. Everybody famous in the 90s anyway, were on board going, this is our history. I wondered if they touched on the ghost dance. RJ, you've heard of this? Maybe not. The ghost
I
dance.
believe I'm familiar with that stuff.
Well, this is when they did the peyote. And this is how come I did the peyote. It was the ghost dance. They talk
Is it-
about
Is it
Wodziwa.
as fun as it sounds?
There's nothing fun about it. You do fasting for 3 days. You do sweat lodge. You go alone into the woods for 3 days with a microdose and only a quart of water. You come back, do another sweat lodge, do the peyote service, do a fire walk. Boom, you're on your way. All right, it's just part of their deal. But I didn't even see a mention here. It did have some incorporated Christian elements when they started the ghost dance ceremonies prior to Wounded Knee. We're getting quite an echo there. I wonder if you could drop off for just a second and see if it. Well, never mind. Never mind. So the goal was to enter a trance, and you're taking their thing, and it was all about Wounded Knee and their prophet there. And anthropologist James Mooney, who will look at that when I did my first peyote service, his grandson, Dr. James Mooney, and Dr. Stone, Jeffrey Stone from USC were there because he's related to him, and Flaming Eagle, who is Dr. James Mooney today, spent 8 years in prison to legalize peyote so that the Ute Indians could take it in their ceremonies. And the Lord led me there. I did it with these guys. And so this is not new to me. This is what we did. And it's part of what the Lord was showing me. James Mooney was the guy that did the ethnographic, everything we know about ghost dance, and he entered into it with them. He lived with them. He believed with it. He was called back to the Smithsonian, and he changed his mind, published a book, said it was all wrong, and nobody ever seen or heard of him again. And everybody in his family was getting chased down and killed, except for Flaming Eagle, who, it's one of those miraculous stories. They hid him. I was doing this for some reason. Were you with me then, RJ? Did you know about this? When it was part of you hunting me down?
Well, you mentioned it, yeah, then, but other than that, I wasn't aware
Yeah,
much
it was
of your.
just something I would do, right? It's just something I would do. And I would, of course, it didn't last long because they were all about LGBTQ medicine men. And I was going like, no, I think I'll be going my own way, still an ordained member of your Native American church. Thank you very much. But yeah, I'm trying to start my own church now. I got this whole new thing about Mudflood was Armageddon. And I don't care what the Native American tribes kind of reflect in their Christian creeds. I got enough problem with wide road Christians and their creeds, RJ. It's just something I do. I like sweat lodging. I like peyote. I like fire walking. A little bit, I guess. I've only done it one time. And I don't even know what they mean by hallucinogenic effects. Can you describe any hallucinogenic effects that you ever, like, what is something?
I guess not so much hallucinogenic, just some things don't appear as though what you think you're seeing, maybe, but yeah, if that's the effect, yeah.
So what was going on around that 1848? We could look them up. I don't know how much time you have, but the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom was going on. As a matter of fact, the Heavenly Kingdom of Great Peace from 1851 was a theocratic monarchy that had modest goals of overthrowing. Maybe you've heard of the Qing dynasty, officially the greatest thing that ever, we're the Manchus, we're the imperial dynasty. Is here, it's like, yeah, let's take over the Manchus. Wow. I'm glad I found out about the Heavenly Kingdom today and how their recent history of what in the world is going on. I wonder if they were mad about people selling opium in China. Huh. So they built their own palace or they claimed it. Who knows? This could have been the time that Jesus came back. Hey, man.
I'm gonna put all the stuff inside.
Okay. How much time do you still have? Was there any money left over?
$50. Yeah.
Okay, I want to get a torch and then at least 2 of those green propane tanks. Just take that and go get it, and you're still on the clock.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, because for as slow as I can go, I don't think it's making it. But okay, that sounds good.
Are you good? You got enough time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm saying.
Yeah, because
I was just going as slow as I could, but I couldn't even last an hour. And I went through 3 stores for the service, but it's chill.
Nice, thanks, man.
Oh, of course.
I appreciate it.
What did you say? Torch and 2 of the filled things.
Yeah, the green ones. The green. No, I don't have them. They're green propane, not butane. Propane.
Oh.
And a propane torch like the one that Tony uses in the studio.
The tip you're talking about, get the tip
and a 2-pack.
And a 2-pack.
Of propane.
And you think that's $50 is good?
Yeah. Okay. Should be good.
I don't know how much they are.
Yeah. Sorry about that, everybody. We're rolling. We got just all seems so ancient, doesn't it, RJ? I mean,
with those fashion statements.
How would we know if this was from 1650, a drawing, or 1890? This was their own little kingdom.
Well, it's a photograph for sure, but
yeah. So during the 1800s, the King territories experienced a series of famines, probably a judgment at the end. There's going to be wars, rumors of wars. It's so easy, RJ, for people to put, as the correct use of the word evolved in what we think and know about Christ in the Bible, and we put the Bible describes star fort cities, and Jesus was in a star fort, and he probably didn't dress like a bum, or his friends were, merchant fishermen, and they put him in the Middle Ages. Well, why not really put him in the 1800s? Trains, steam, Darwin, wars, rumors of wars, civil wars, trains. It just seems like it would fit because they had the socialist revolutions in Europe in 1848 that led to, our history says, communism, but that would all be easy to fake. There's forgeries. They do it all the time. There was the Great Awakening in the United States where they said everybody sold everything and was waiting for the rapture. And that's how the bane of the narrow road started, the Seventh-day Adventist. What do you think about that?
Theory.
Yes, it's been a while, and I was thinking and praying and wondering what the heck you're doing in Colorado right now, waiting for spring, no doubt. But besides that,
Patiently waiting.
who knows? He's young, so he might not be that patient. He's trying to be patient. So here's that Native American church. What is its relationship to Christianity? What's the wide road mainstream Christianity's relationship to Christianity, RJ? None of this stops anything, whether it was 1848 or 1711, which the best thing I can go with now is just, I feel like it's stick with 1711 because I can't change in my mind that 9/11 2001 was that day, that it's that 45 years after, that's the set period we've been waiting for almost a decade. It'd be hard to throw it out, go, oh, 9/11 was nothing. Wait a minute. That's the day that physics didn't work in the world, and everything that the same people that sell us the globe try to sell us on science doesn't work in 9/11. And anybody that looks into it comes away going, we did it. We did it. George Bush hired his brother to be the head of security so they could do it. Why don't you explain to him what thermite is, RJ, in 30 seconds?
Well, I believe it's a military, it's a blend of ingredients that the military,
Thermite is.
yeah, and then it's used for it. It can create such an extreme heat once it's activated that it blow your mind how it's like a instant foundry, once it's done for controlled demolition like it was used that day. I mean, you can use it for it has other usages, but that's one.
We can
and
laugh
it's
about it now. We can
I-
laugh
I-
about it now.
yeah, because the joke's on us. But
So they had the thermite in the building. Here's a trick question before you go on, and I love this one. You usually get it right. What's the odds of Neil Bush working for George Bush on a security where it failed so bad? What's the odds of that, RJ?
100%.
Yeah, it's going to happen because it happened. It's 100%.
Right.
Okay, just thermite, 15 seconds, short selling American Airlines stocks. What does that say? Anything?
Well, yeah, if you want the detail, it's James Colbert, follow the trillions or something. Yeah,
I know. And who would think that really James Colbert? I mean, he comes up with so much good stuff. I mean, he really does.
well, yeah, an investigative reporter type. Yeah, he's kind of like that. Who's that girl that does it with Whitney Webb? Similar type of clarity to what she brings to the table.
She sure has the corner marketed on the Jeffrey Epstein blackmailing the United States, because I mean that's what it is.
Yeah, connecting dots type information that most people are snooze right through that, totally unawares of what's happening.
Here's another argument they might throw at that 1848 and false Christs, wars and rumors of war. I don't know if a lot of people have heard of The Bahu Allah. Am I sharing the screen?
Appears as though you are.
This guy. It's like looking in a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
There's a depiction of him, the father of Bahu Allah. There's on Mount Carmel, the shrine of Bab. It's made for Bahu Allah. And they spared no expense, RJ. This was one of those false Christs of 1848 when they were having the rumors of wars. I think
Well, it
what?
looks like they must have either a groundskeeper with a lot of ambition or a crew of what he delegates. I'm not certain how it's done.
Isn't that funny how they ended up in what they call Israel today? Here I said Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody lived there that's famous. This was a religion, RJ. Big religion that still exists that started at that mysterious time. False Christ. That's not Bahu Allah. We must have taken over when Bahu Allah died. Because Bahu Allah was a fake Christ. It could have been. They do a lot of forging in our history, RJ. Wow, that's built on a. Thanks for the small picture. That looks like that would have been a good one to look at big. I wonder if there are any bigger pictures of it. It's a little bit bigger. There's one. Okay. So
this is
you can
a
see that thing on
point of a drone or what?
Yeah, it must be a drone or a balloon. But here's that one thing on the right. So and this is all in Israel there. You usually hear about the Dome of the Rock. They got these guys. There's Bahu Allah. This started in the 1848s too. He's still got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow. Can they even? That's what the cops like to use, those 7-pointed stars. Bahu Allah claimed he had a revelation from God. Spent the rest of his life in prison. Yeah, he had to go away. But they kept the religion going. This is a series on the Baha'i faith. 3 central figures. The Bab, not Bob, but the Bob, Jesus and Muhammad. Something weird going on in that time of the 1848. What was that?
Wisconsin became a state in 1848.
Wisconsin is a mystery, no doubt about it. The mound capital of the world. No other indigenous place in the world has so many mounds, but we'll see if this takes us to Wisconsin. It probably will, but I want to look up that 1848 Great Disappointment. Ever hear that?
Which one?
Wisconsin becoming a state and developing a football team that will beat up on Chicago's poor Bears all the time for no apparent reason. There. I got that off my head. It's the Millerite movement, RJ. This guy here, watch right here. Miller's from Wisconsin. No, there was a proclamation that Jesus would return to Earth by 1844. So I was off. But this was the beginning of their oh no, what's going on? By 4 years later, in the next election cycle, it was like.
And what scripture did they find that detail in?
His study of Daniel 8 prophecy during the Second Great Awakening, which is when people learned how to speak in tongues. The Second Great Awakening was, well, let me just put there.
And
I don't want to ask the computer and stuff.
I think someone hit the snooze alarm during that Great Awakening.
This could have been, I don't know if they're talking about, this would have probably been the brothers that did the Methodist Second Great Awakening. What was it?
The Second Great Awakening was one of the most important social, religious, and cultural aspects of the early 19th century in the United States. In fact, I might even make the argument that it's impossible to understand the early 19th century without understanding the Second Great Awakening, because
Okay, that's the type of importance I'd like to have somebody put on it, but don't bore me, go faster.
1730s, 1740s, and that was the era of Jonathan Edwards and Sinners in the Hands
Yeah.
of an Angry God. It was very localized in New England and specifically with Calvinism or Puritan religious awakening. So that was a separate event that happened about 100 years before. And the Second Great Awakening, as I've drawn here, generally historians say it lasted from about 1790 to 1850. But I would say that the real heyday of the Second Great Awakening would be from about 1820 to 1840. You know, those are hazy dates, but that's kind of the hot.
We're gonna
period
go
of
with
the
you,
Second Great
girl.
Awakening. In this series of video awakening, which were camp meetings. So
It looks like this guy on the left, at my left, as I'm looking at the screen, looks like he was in on it. And I'm going to assume the guy on the right, you're in on it too, Mr. Guy that makes me look like I feel like I'm looking in a mirror.
unlike the First Great Awakening, which was definitely a New England thing, the Second Great Awakening took place largely more on the western part of the United States. Now, when we're talking about western part, we're talking about western part circa 1820.
So we got the 1840s. Looks like a Mormon. When did the Mormon start? Man, I can't believe I normally
What
know how to
was
spell
Smith?
tongues. As I look, you know, I normally can spell tongues. What is the book of, what do we got here?
A lot of people are wondering, what's the deal with the Book of Mormon? Maybe they've heard of the musical. Maybe they thought it was funny. But then they're curious. What is it? And why should I care? To put it briefly, in about 60 seconds, here's the what and the why of the Book of Mormon. What is it?
Okay, Joseph Smith, in what year did he find the golden plates? Come on.
It's a book of scripture full of stories about God's love for all people and all places. Where's the setting? The Americas, but over 2,000 years ago. What's the plot? Basically, it's an epic tale of war and peace and good and evil that follows the lives of men and women who lived long ago, but who believed in and even predicted the coming of Jesus Christ.
Wow.
In fact, the entire story centers on him, his birth, teachings, and appearance in ancient America after his death and resurrection in Jerusalem. Remember when Jesus said, "Other sheep I have which are not of this"? The Book of Mormon is called another testament of Jesus Christ. But that's really just the beginning of the story. By now you probably have questions.
Gee whiz. What a waste of time that was. It's just.
Yeah. Is it different than the one Paul taught?
The what?
I say, is that story the news a little different than the one Paul spoke about?
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
And the thing is that, let's see, he died in it. It was during the 1920s. The movement split into several groups.
1820s.
1820s, yeah, my bad. You know, nobody knew about the plural marriage that Brigham Young and those guys, or that Joseph Smith ever was into polygamy until after they got busted, you know. So, but this fits in that time period when, and he obviously he was a Mason. He was, and they were all Freemasons, and he used Freemason magic to supposedly, get the new Bible. And they had their plan. it doesn't change. And I still, it has to be 1711 calendar that they're going by when Satan was loosed. And there's just a lot of forging. We just need to move Jesus up a little bit in that time frame, from like, oh yeah, he was in star forts to, even in World War One, it was mostly horses. As far as the Germans in World War II, yeah, they had panzers. They had 2 divisions of mechanized panzers and tanks, but they had 10 times as many horses. And there was a time leading up to this vast jump that they claim we had where Jesus, it wouldn't have been out of place for a steam or an electric car. Before they invented petroleum, they were steam and electric. For Jesus to have been on a foal, the colt of an ass, that wouldn't have been out of place. Nothing in the Bible would have been out of place of people still fishing in wooden boats, asleep underneath, something about the 1848 thing and today. That's just what I'm thinking about. So what do we got going now, RJ? What do you think about all that? The 1848 thing.
Yeah, who knows? Yes, if you want to live, yeah, they probably had some, more than what you realize. Some had access to some technologies more than you realize, but yeah, for the most part, people were still rubbing their eyes trying to wake up. Probably, I don't know.
This is all about love, man. They're still doing it today. What's the difference between these guys and the regular Allahs? They like music. I guess they like the music, man. So the Great Disappointment, William Miller. I believe that he was getting these girls to speak in tongues. Let's see. I know that, not Seventh-day Adventists. They're still around today too. They're a group of people that were part of that. I can't remember the name. We'll run across it here. So here's their situation, and this is where they started dispensationalism right at that period, and was their proof of why it was going to end in 1844.
There's your timeline.
Pretty close on the building of the second temple. Oops, get it back bigger. That's pretty close. That's when it did. And so this is what they say. That's when they got their 27 AD, 33 AD, based on the birth of Jesus Christ, give or take a day. And so they figured, no, the 2,300 days as years. I got a problem with that, RJ, and I'm one of those day-year guys. We better look it up. Because it doesn't make no sense. Thank you for your patience, everybody.
So my clock's chiming, and I'm an hour ahead of you. So,
all right, we'll try to see what we can do with this. So, is it 9 or when do they have that 2,300? Because that's not the final thing. It must have been 9.
I thought that one was
Your
days and
62
nights.
weeks. 70 weeks are decreed about your people for the holy city to seal both vision and prophet. Know therefore and understand that from the going out of the word to restore and build Jerusalem to the coming of an anointed one, a prince, there shall be 7 weeks. Then for 62 weeks it shall be built again with square and moat. It's a star fort, but in time of trouble. After 62 weeks, an anointed one shall be cut off and shall have nothing. Even his sheep will be scattered, I heard. And the people of the prince who is to come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. Its end shall come with a mud flood, and to the end there shall be wars. Desolations are decreed. I added mud flood. Case, yeah, I know I did. And he shall make a strong covenant with many for 1 week, and for half of the week he shall put an end to sacrifice and offering. Okay, well, that's something that makes desolate. It's on the, it's on the wing of the one who comes to make desolate. It's decreed. It's going to happen. For the life of me, where do they get that 2,300 day years? We're on the clock.
But I think that's described as days and nights.
Could it be? So it's the prophecy in Daniel. Says it's a 6 1/3 if you count it as just a day. Daniel 8, we missed it, didn't go back far enough. In a prophecy concerning persecution of Jewish people during the intertestament period. Okay, well, we'll be the decider.
Yeah, evenings and mornings. It was right there. So
let's just read it though for ourselves. That way I can look up. Do you remember what verse it was? Oh, there it is right there. For the evenings and mornings. That excludes it forever from being a day-year prophecy. When it says that these are this many evenings and mornings, it can't be used as a day for a year ever again, ever in prophecy. All your scholarly types like RJ know that. He had to go take a phone call.
okay.
Super rich are injecting blood into themselves.
Okay. Talk to you
So that's where, if he comes into this day year thing, that's always going to be wrong. That's always going to lead to this dispensationalism. And that's where it all came from. So as we wrap it up, it sounds like neither one of us are pushed off 1711, but 1848's weird, man.
Yeah, a lot of stuff seems unusual or suspicious, I should say.
So we're going to go forward, still thinking there's forgeries out there and that they're lying to us, and that the biggest deal of them all isn't 9/11. It's that they've got people convinced we live on a globe.
I think that's a big one. Yeah. Personally.
Jesuits did that. Galileo did that. He was hanging out with the gay priests. That's obvious. Everybody in history knows that. They're gay.
Well, if you start out with something that's big, I think that's pretty good size deception.
This is big. Let's go with we're spinning on a ball.
And be normalized to it.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody thinks the same way, even if it's wrong.
Pretend that the men came from monkeys. So everything's crazy. I am so happy to see that, Zach Makamudo is in the house and everything's going on. We're going to have a lot of free time to do stuff. You know what? This is a good time to break off. Joaquin will be coming back, and we got some other things to get taken care of. Tony from China selling his LED sign sure thinks the West is gay. And RJ, you've been talking to me about lights and signs and these therapies. We got to keep it rolling. We got to keep it going. We're on to them.
Yeah, the sun is more beneficial, the sun in the firmament. And that's why they want to make it artificial. And yeah, because what it brings to life, everything.
Well, I've got to watch that video, this thing. This is the fake history.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you need to do your assignments, I would
Then
think. But
gold was discovered in California.
Listen to it. Listen to what got me pissed off here. The way he describes it. This guy. Where is that guy?
All dreamed of becoming instant millionaires.
Anyway, he said they found gold. He called it a rock. There he is. We can't show too much of this stuff. This is all that PBS. I'm gonna copyright it up with the thing, but
yeah, it's BS, all right. I don't know what initial.
Yeah.
Gold was discovered in California, and everything changed for the West and for the country. Suddenly, gold seekers rushed.
These guys were Freemasons who showed up with their top hats, and they made a story about here's gold, and it was a good reason because they had started breaking what turns out to be 510 treaties by pioneers and settlers, part military terms, if you look them up, showed up with an army. They got smallpox. They converted and killed the rest. And so they wanted to jump to the West Coast and start it there. So they made that a state, bypassing all of their territory laws that you have to be a territory by so much. They declared themselves a state. The Freemasons did. They became a state. They started killing them so that they could meet in the middle. But actually, it went faster in the West, and they met in the Rocky Mountains where I live. And that's what my goal is now, is to know that we can live happily until they find us one way. Don't draw a line in the sand and rush out to fight the man. Okay. That's a losing proposition. They've got their gain of function. They've got their fully automatic drones. And I'm not going to be the Christian that's going to tell these young men, you won't be seeing your wife tonight, at least 30% of you, because we're going to go kick their ass. Got to be a better way, RJ. Go ahead, wrap it up for us, and I'm going to close it out. What do you got?
Well, the weekend's here, and sometimes that gets busy also. And yeah, stay safe and informed.
At least there's no more football.
Oh, it'll be coming. Don't they have that other league?
You can't go without the United States in football. That's why they have the football Super Bowl in February, and then by April 8th, it's draft day. Who's going to draft who? And they'll be talking about it for 2 weeks before that. So there is no real month that doesn't have football season. This is a flat earth nation. The golden age is definitely past. The Mudflood was Armageddon. Then there was the 1,000 years. Then there was the reaping, another reset, your orphan trained butt. got here somehow because somebody complied with the people that didn't get lobotomized, institutionalized, or criminalized. Me and my friends are never going to tell you anything else. Why would we? We're the ones that are trying to prove we have your best interest at heart. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nakamen. Adios. That's my